Hello, everyone. Welcome to this new live event. I greet you with much love. Thank you for being here live. Or if you're watching the replay, I'm sending you much love and appreciation for tuning in. And today's topic will be, are you a starseed? Are you a starseed? The mission and ascension timelines. So that will be the first priority of today's transmission. And the second part, after we have addressed the main question, will be a QA part in which I will answer all the questions that you've sent in the community section. I think it was in the weekend, I posted a new thread or like a new idea that we can do during the live events, that I will pose a type of thread where you can put in your questions, topic ideas, whatever you want us to talk about during these live events. And this section is mainly for people who are unable to join us live, because I know that most of you are all across the world and are unable to join. And we have Silver Boho Soul, who has just woken up at 4 a.m. in Australia to be here live. So thank you for joining us wherever and whenever you may be. Okay, I will also post this type of thread probably in a few days, and you can also add there your questions or topic ideas for the next live event. And the third announcement I wanted to say is that I'm most likely going to change the name of the channel from Guardian of Orion to my pen name, which is J Zoltan. So look forward to that. So if you don't see Guardian or of Orion showing up next to my logo and on my channel, don't be afraid. It's a change that I'm going through since I was thinking about the name change for quite some time. And since I also took a little vacation from this whole thing of doing YouTube, I had more time to reflect and to think on things. And like this name was awesome at the beginning, since I didn't really know like where it is going, like the whole channeling and what I'm going to do with the channel, what kind of trajectory it will have. But I feel like it's not as representative as it was maybe 3 years ago or even back then. So yeah, it also, what was the last drop in this whole topic is one of, I'm not sure who it was, I think it was Robert, who sent in a question that should we be trusting anything that comes from Orion? And I know like this, yeah, like we're going to address that later. But yeah, like this was also something that many people, I mean, not that many, but from time to time I received comments on my stuff or feedback from other people who weren't necessarily like talking to me or messaging me directly, but like secondhand feedback from other people that they were like hesitant to like check out my content and things that I have to offer because I have Orion in the name. And yeah, I know. It is a star system that I for some reason, I think all of us are connected to, but I have a connection to it as well, although it didn't really lead to anything in the past few years. So I think it's time to drop it. And as many of you know, that my name is Guardian of Orion, but I share channelings from the Syrians. So how does that make sense? So I also want the name to reflect that as well, because we are changing, I'm adapting to the new changes, and I also want the channel to reflect this new spirit in which I'm going to do stuff. Okay, so that's about that. Thank you for everyone who's joining. Yes, Silver Boho Soul. Hello, Zoltan and Star Family. I couldn't miss this. Awesome. It's great to have you here. Hello, Soul Family. Jacaranda Marie, PP, Mika. Thank you for joining wherever you may be across the world. I'm sending you much love from Transylvania. Wherever you may be in all times and space. Okay, so let's start with today's topic. I will arrange my tabs here. Okay. Okay, thank you for being patient for this few seconds of technical difficulties. Okay, so today's topic is, are you a starseed? The mission and ascension timelines. So in short, I'm going to spoil it for you. So are you a starseed? If you're listening to this, then most likely you are. So if you're attracted to such materials, if you were interested even remotely in your childhood or during your life in science fiction movies, ET material, UFOs, paranormal stuff, if that's something that interested you throughout your life, then most likely you are a starseed, because you are attracted to those types of things for a very reason, because it resonates to you. It is reminding you of your true nature, of where we come from. And that's pretty much it in short. And we will go much deeper into it with the other aspects of it. For example, what is a starseed? Like a starseed is like an expression that I think it started in the late 90s. I'm not sure who started to use this expression for ET consciousness that chose to incarnate on planet Earth. But in short, if you're a starseed, that means that you have many incarnations that are related to other star systems. So, and many people experience it in a way that you had many incarnations, for example, as a Pleiadian or in Sirius or whatever type of other star system that you may be in. And after a time, you have chosen to come here to Earth. And the predominant, your soul mostly resonates with being in that ideal state and being in that high vibrational state, being among your peers, among your soul family, and being very high vibrational. And now you have come here to this super dense environment where everything is chaotic, everything is dangerous, and it is not an easy place to be, because we were used to those high vibrational places. We are also very high vibrational, and our whole purpose in being here is to bring down that information here, to be here, to share it with everyone else, just as we are sharing our energies right now with each other, to share it not just with each other, but also the earthbound humans, people who have been stuck here in the karmic loophole of planet Earth. And mainly our reason for being here is to share that energy with them so they can also evolve. And if they choose to evolve, they can do it right now. But if they don't want to, they can just go to another planet and continue exploring dysfunctional timelines there. So there you go. Okay, but yeah, how do you know what kind of starseed you are, or where are you from? I know this is a topic that many people are very much interested in. And I don't think there is a definitive answer for this, or a test you can take, which is going to show you 100% who you are and what type of relationship you have with other star systems. I don't think that is that black or white, in my opinion, and also in my experience. And what I have seen also from other people is that all of these star systems that we are in a relationship with, we share our DNA, we have a common ancestry, and also basically they are our distant family. So all of them are part of us and we are part of them. So, and depending on what you're experiencing right now, you may be gravitating towards a specific star system. You may be gravitating towards a specific soul group or ET group. I wouldn't say organization, but there are definitely many groups. It is how they function, and mostly these groups are mixed species. So it's not just one single species in a specific group. You can imagine it just like in Star Trek, that many of them are working together. And even though they come from different places or are of different species, they work together and form the same group, which has a common goal. And that can also be the theme for many of us, that we work with specific groups and those groups have different species in them. And for some people, this can be very confusing because once they think, hey, I'm Pleiadian, and hey, like now I'm connecting with these very strange looking tall beings that don't look human. And so what is happening? And like, we are very diverse. We have a very diverse genetic heritage, and we're connecting to many, many different things at the same time. So, but most of the time we're not aware of most of it, basically, because we're simply we wouldn't be able to process or understand all that information. And in my opinion, we're connected to beings and are working with beings that we wouldn't be able to comprehend, like who they are or where do they come from or how do they function or anything like that. They would be like super alien to us, even though I don't like that word. So to clean, so basically to keep things clean for us and to keep it simple, they don't show themselves, or we're not even aware most of the time of who they are or how actually are they interacting with us, because it could be something that could like derail or distract us from our mission and what we are here to focus on. So most of the time, if you know that you're having an ET contact, you have your ET guides and all that, but you're still not able to really like form a clear line of communication with them, then most likely the reason for that you're not ready for that, at least at this time, you're not really ready for that. So they're not going to clutter and distract your life from what you should be doing. So since, as I've just shared, like being here for us is very difficult anyways, so they don't really want to like overburden us with too much information and complicated timeline stuff and things like that that wouldn't really make much sense to our logical mind. So in short, they are doing us a favor. Okay. Does anybody have anything to add or ask regarding this? I would love to hear your thoughts. Yeah, like you can add it in the chat box right now, or if you're watching the replay, then you can put it in the comment section, and I will do my best to reply to all of your questions and things that you share with us. Okay. All right. So yeah, like a common theme, as I'm seeing also in the chat, a common theme for most of us that we've had these experiences all our lives. And I think the most of us remember strange events from our childhood, like having strange dreams, or maybe psychic attacks or weird stuff happening during the night. And for example, I don't really remember ET contact when I was a kid. I just had like very strange nightmarish experiences when I was little, but I never really connected the dots, to be honest. And some people, if you do some research, they had like very clear recollections of what they were experiencing, what types of beings they were interacting with, even when they were kids. And if you do even more research, which I definitely suggest if you're interested in this topic, to learn more about yourself, about the mission, who we are, why we are here, then definitely Dolores Cannon and Mary Rodwell has some incredibly awesome information regarding this. For example, Dolores Cannon has the Custodians book, which is awesome. I think that's mostly a collection of hypnotic regressions with people who had ET experiences. And it's really cool to see like how all these unrelated experiences come together and to form a whole picture of like who these people are who are incarnating here on planet Earth, why are we here, what is the mission, and how will things basically unfold for us. And the other one, which I highly recommend, is a book from Mary Rodwell. I think it's called The New Human, but she probably has other books since out. And if you don't want to read the book, she has awesome presentations. Check out Mary Rodwell, The New Human, or just any type of presentation with her. She's an Australian psychologist, I think, and she's been exploring this topic around the world, having regressions and collecting informations from thousands of people, also including kids from across the world. And it is awesome to see how she has collected all this information from thousands of people who don't even know each other, or in many cases, especially in the case of children, they don't even know what these things mean. Like, what is the weird stuff that are happening to them, like who they are, like why are they seeing these things? They're just simply describing what they've been experiencing. And if you have the knowledge to like put everything together, it's like an amazing picture that you see that all these children, like they're super aware of what is happening, of who they are, what is their mission, and what is their purpose in life. It is awesome to see. And basically only us, the so-called grown-ups, have to do a lot of work, because we didn't came in with all the codes. We need to upgrade along the way. We also need to do a lot of healing. And mainly that is why it's so difficult for us, because we came in very heavy. We came in with amnesia. We didn't really remember who we are, or if we did, we just had like a strange sense that we don't fit in, or things don't really make sense around here. And yeah, like feeling alienated in this strange world, basically. And we had to do all the work throughout the years of remembering, I know, like doing hypnotic regressions, learning to meditate, going to workshops, listening to presentations, and like trying to piece together the picture of like, what the hell is happening here? And like, who am I? Why am I here? Why are all these strange things happening to me? And like, what is my place in all of this picture that is happening here right now on Earth? Okay, so let me catch up with what is happening in the chat box. Yes, okay, so Layla, has anyone got very powerful Kundalini involuntary crisis, I guess? Yeah, like we are not going to go into that topic right now, but I see Jacaranda Marie is assisting, thank you. Okay. Yes, and also one of you brought up, yes, that when you have like hypnotic regressions, if you haven't had one, I highly recommend trying it out. Try out the QHHT session. I'm putting it in the chat box. It stands for a quantum healing hypnosis therapy. It is a hypnotherapic method that was developed by Dolores Cannon through, I know, like 40 years or so. And basically, right now, I think you can find a practitioner near you very easily, especially if you live in the West. And I absolutely highly recommend taking one just for the sake of self-exploration and seeing what interesting and crazy things come up when you let your higher self guide the entire session and shows you like what you need to know right now. And yeah, for me, it was also very activating. And as one of you mentioned, yeah, you had like an experience regressing maybe to ancient Egypt. I also, my first regression, I thought it's going to be with ETs, because like that was like a theme that I was exploring very intensely at that time. And instead of that, it was just going to ancient Egypt. And I was like very startled, like, hey, like something's wrong. But as the picture started to form, and I also gained some more understanding of like what I have actually experienced during my session, a much richer picture started to form of that, hey, like I wasn't doing the thing that I'm doing just in this lifetime. For example, I'm not having just in this lifetime experiences with ETs or contact with ETs. I had through many, many lifetimes that connection in my life. And it is like something that I brought with myself over and over again in different lifetimes throughout, at least linearly speaking, here and in Earth history. But yeah, like the more you go back in time, for example, in ancient times, like back then, having contact with ETs was much more natural. Like people were much more awake and aware and psychically trained than most of us right now. So they had very clear and intense experiences with ETs for different reasons, of course. Okay, so let's go into guides. For example, yeah, like if you are new to the spiritual community or not, like all of you have heard about guides, guardian angels, or whomever, however you want to call them, spirit guides, or animal totems, or whatever. And basically, all of us have them. You're never alone. We always have our guides with us, making sure that everything that don't need to happen won't happen, that we are safe, and that we experience what we want to experience in this environment. And for many of us, especially many of us who are listening right now, if you do some digging and soul searching, you may probably find out that some of your guides are not from Earth, or at least they're not Earth-based consciousness. And even if you're like not very much interested in like ETs or extraterrestrial stuff, and you think, hey, like I'm only working with the archangels, or I have animal spirit guides or elementals. And I mean, that can totally be the case as well. But the more you learn and the more you evolve, then we'll start to find out that, hey, like that animal totem or that animal spirit guide that I have was not what I thought it was. For example, they also shared my guides that throughout our history, they always shown themselves as something else than they actually are. And depending on the culture, for example, the Native Americans or anything that has like a shamanic route in it, they have these spirit animals. And in many cases, they were not spirit animals. They were ETs coming in. And basically, they were projecting their consciousness as spirit animals because those people understood that, hey, like that spirit animal is here to assist me. Like I trust in that. And I know what that is. So I will accept assistance and guidance from that spirit animal. But if they were to like present themselves in their true form, they most likely would have like scared that person off or like made them like shut down completely from the spiritual world or exploring anything esoteric. So in many cases, that can be with us as well. And also, if you don't necessarily have like ET connections, like if it's not, you didn't come in to specifically explore that, I think like it's open for all of us. Because if you're a psychic, you're an intuitive, you're an energy sensitive person, then you have the tool bag to actually work with them. You are able to communicate with them and interact with them if you know how to work with your own energy and how to tune into specific things, how to conduct different types of energies, how to communicate with different types of energies. If you know how to do that, then you can communicate and interact with them as well. So it's not something exclusive for starseeds or people who have incarnated with that specific purpose. Like we have that in all our DNAs. It just depends, like even people who are not awakened and like will never be in this lifetime, which is also completely normal. Like even they have those star race DNA in them. So they all have the codes that we have as well. The only difference is that it's not active in them. And maybe even if they were trying to activate it and work with it, it wouldn't be as potent as with us, since we came in with a very clear intent to explore this. So basically we have set up for ourselves all these events, our genetics, our families, the bloodlines that we were born in, to have the specific body, the specific, the situations and environments that we grew up in to basically act as a catalyst for creating these types of experiences. So yeah, you're having these strange experiences for a very good reason, because like you set it up for yourself. And basically our guides are there to basically, we have contracts with them to remind us of what we have set out to do in this lifetime. Because as most of you know, I think like 99% of us, when we are born here, we forget who we are, like where we came from. The only thing that like lingers with us is this strange sense at the back of our minds of like, we not fitting in here, or like, this doesn't feel like home. I don't like it here. Like, I want to go home. Like most of us have this strange sensation at the back of our minds, which makes absolutely zero sense at the specific point in our lives. But yeah, that's the only thing that we remember, this vague sense of something being a bit different. And basically, when the time comes and we have our first activation, which can be like an intense experience, or your first aha moment when like things just click and you start to suddenly just start to see the picture forming in front of you, and like all the events and all the little breadcrumbs that you experience throughout your life are like coming together, and all of a sudden you could just like see like, oh my God, like it was all along in front of me and I just didn't really see it. But now it makes total sense that I had all these strange experiences in my life, and now I understand why. Who am I? And basically that opens up another can of worms and leads you down a very, very long and deep journey of self-exploration, which is very exciting and in-depth. Okay. Okay, so Jacaranda Marie, can you talk about how some guides are actually a collective, Tehuti as an example? Yeah, okay. Yeah, like it's very strange with guides that I think like most of us have like this very like cut and dry picture of like who spirit guides are and how they function. Like, for example, I don't know, like maybe a deceased relative of yours, or maybe a deity, depending on like your belief system and what you carry in your genetics. Like different types of beings can appear to you, and most of the times they can be earth-based. For example, in the Western world, we have our relationship with Christ consciousness, which is basically Buddha consciousness in the East. But we have a relationship with Christ, with Mother Mary and archangels. But basically, those archetypal energies are also present in other cultures as well. They just simply appear in a different way. And yeah, like some of us take it as, okay, like I have maybe Christ is one of my guides who is working with me right now to maybe on healing a specific trauma that I went through in my past, or just teaching me unconditional love or forgiveness. And you may take that, hey, like there's this single guy that is my guide and he's working with me. And that could be the case, but not necessarily. For example, like many beings are not like, they don't necessarily function in a linear way, or they're not as limited as we think they are. For example, many guides also, the higher you go on the vibrational scale, the more omnipresent they are, the more vast and yeah, like I think what vast is a very great word for it. The more omnipresent they are. And for example, they may not just be working with you, but with many thousands or millions of people at the same time. So that can be also a factor. But for example, if maybe your deceased relative is coming back and assisting you with something, maybe to learn a lesson that you weren't able to learn together when you were in the physical, like that is something far more limited, and that's most likely just limited to you. Or if you had like a relationship in another lifetime, and now that is coming back in a new form, that can also be something more specific and more limited just for you specifically. And also, now we're going to go into the part that Jacaranda Marie said, like guides as being a collective. And yeah, like this is a very complex topic. like I will try to add my 2 cents to it. So basically, they can appear to you as just one consciousness, especially in the beginning, that because it's more focused and it's more easier for us to understand. And they may also represent themselves with a specific image or a symbol, or just a sensation that like lets you know that, hey, like when I feel this or I get this type of information in my head, then now right now I'm communicating with him or those guys or whatever name they may have. And in most cases, they don't have names, because on the higher planes, they don't use it. Like they have their own specific vibration, which I think you can like translate into our spoken words. And you have these sacred names or high vibrational sounds, basically. But for example, in the case of my Syrian guides, like they are a group of beings, and I usually work with like 13 or 14 at a time. And that many of them come together and assist in bringing through information during the channeling sessions. I'm also getting notes and info from them right now as well. And yeah, like they basically come forth as just one being, as like one consciousness. And usually it works in a way that I have one of them who is working directly with them, but he or she is representing the whole group. It's almost like you have someone in front of you, and like that person is like channeling and bringing together all the information and input from everyone else and just giving it to you, so you can process it more easily. But in many cases, when you start to explore and like follow the thread of your guides, when they deem it that you're ready to know more about them, then you can find out that, hey, like maybe the being that you were communicating with is actually more than just one, or is like a representative of a collective, or it is representative of a specific group. And it is a far more complex information that they can give you. And also, in a sense of the collective, it's like you can also tap into, for example, like the overall like Earth Consciousness Collective, or the collective of different star systems. For example, if you communicate with their oversoul, but I'm not sure like how would that actually function as being a guide to you. At least in my experience, that can like work only if you like channeling or like want to bring in information, and when you're in this clear aligned state, you can like tap into different energy sources, and you, for example, choose the energy source or information source of the collective of Sirius, for example. Or, for example, I want to tune into Earth's collective because I want to find out something about a past event that happened maybe thousands of years ago. Or at least that's how I would go about it. Okay, so let's see what's happening in the chat box. Okay, so always felt Gaia is a new home. I didn't like the people with the 3D matrix spell and reacted so cruel to animals and plant life. My heart breaks. Yep. Yeah, like that's also a very strange thing that many of us, especially during childhood, like we can relate more to animals and nature, or at least enjoying the company of animals and nature much more than the company of humans, because humans are so complicated and chaotic from time to time, or mostly. Okay. Okay, so I think our guides change or step back as you need different ones along your path. Yes, exactly. That's what I wanted to go into next. That depending on what you're exploring during your lifetime, you may have different types of guides. For example, in the beginning, my first very pronounced and spirit guide that really came through was Christ. For example, I was not religious, nor am I right now, but I guess because of my Christian upbringing, it made sense for some reason. But yeah, thank goodness I was very open for it, because I was in a very dark place in my life during my beginning phases. And basically he assisted me in the beginning with learning forgiveness and unconditional love. So he was my first guy that I actually could like pinpoint like who he was or where did he came from. But at the same time, I had my Pleiadian guides, in part, also the Syrian ones, but I didn't know about them at that time. But what I was connecting with was my Pleiadian or Lyran relatives who were assisting me. But also they didn't really come forth in a clear way. Like I recognized their presence and their intent and the energies that they were sending to me, but I absolutely never saw them. So they were always in the background. They never came forth or announced themselves. I just felt it and knew that, hey, like it's them. I recognized that, and it was a beautiful experience. And the interesting thing is that they only came in my first 1 or 2 years, I believe. And only when I was like really down on energy or something very difficult was happening in my life. They always came in and pulled me back together and put me back on my feet. So, but ever since then, I didn't had interactions with them, sadly. The only time that I actually saw them was during a hypnotic regression. So also like the interesting thing with your guides is that they will like never announce themselves that, ta-da, like I am Sananda and I'm here to help you. You're just going to know if that's the case. So yeah, they always operate in the background. They do not want to force themselves on you. They will never like want you to like acknowledge their existence or intrude upon your life, or they don't want you to feel that they're like derailing you from your life or distracting you. They're always there with you, assisting you, but like not in a very, I don't know, like distracting or intrusive way. They're always there if you require help. But if you want your guide's assistance, then you actually have to ask for their assistance because they will not intervene with what you're experiencing. So if you don't ask for help, guidance, protection, they will not give it to you, even though they may think that, hey, like you would really need some of that right now. But if you don't want to ask for it, then we are not allowed to do anything, because like it is, you're a master creator being and you know how to navigate this dense reality the best way you can. So always think about that, like when you need guidance, assistance, protection, like they are there and you just have to ask for it and it will be given, as it was stated during many of my channelings. And yeah, the aspect of change. Yeah, like depending on how we evolve and what we need, they will also change. Just as I said with, for example, how they present themselves. As we evolve, you may find out more and more about them. And after you have completed your mission or your task with them, maybe you have learned something together, maybe they were responsible of showing you something, or you had some kind of task to do together. And after you have completed that phase, then basically they will step back. They could come back at a later date if you need them or you need to continue something. But in many cases, they can just step back and like never come back again because you have finished what you were there to do together. And after that, someone else will come in and continue your training. Someone else will assist you in gaining more of your memories or healing, whatever you need. So if your guides change, that's completely normal. But I think you can totally like reconnect with them if you want to. Like it's not, they're not as strict as many people would think. Like our guides are very light-hearted and endearing and funny. Yeah, like the thing that you can identify your guides by is that they have a very good sense of humor. So, okay. Yes, like Enrique. Any thoughts on implants from addictions? I have 3 red dots in a perfect triangle on my chest And I have met other Starseed abductees that also have that in exact same spot. Like, I don't know many things about like implants or like physical marks that things may show like that. But regarding like attachments or implants or stuff like that connected to addictions, or like, for example, if you have like a negative habit, or maybe you have a trauma that has formed a negative pattern in you, then basically energies can come in to amplify that for you. But they are like never there to cause something. They are there to amplify something that you already have. For example, if you're addicted to smoking or alcohol, then maybe some energy can come near to you and like latch onto your addiction energy and amplify it. Because if it amplifies, then basically it can feed off of it in a certain sense. So like attracts like. So that's how you can think about it. But if you do clearing on yourself, and if you work on your inner self, if you work on your healing, processing traumas, letting go, and in general, just healing yourself as a human being and integrating, then all of these so-called implants or attachments will simply fall off, because they won't have anything to latch onto anymore, because you have worked out that part. So basically now it would just starve, because it's nothing there for them anymore. Okay, so now would be an awesome time to go into the QA part, and I will read the questions that you have posted during the week. And the first one is from Silver Boho Soul. I hope I read your name correctly. Last week, I had my first deep trance past life experience. Most of the session, I was struggling with enormous amount of electricity or energy running through my body, especially my hands. I did manage to bring some good information through for myself and for the collective. I am wondering what all the energy was about. Is it my nervous system being upgraded or recalibrated? Okay, so let's see what comes through. So basically what I'm receiving is very similar that we were discussing last week regarding clearing, is that when there are like blockages in specific parts of our bodies or specific energetic pathways, when you're doing a clearing, or someone is, for example, healing you, or you're channeling, and there is this huge influx of energy coming into your system, then those blockages will react to that intense flow. You can imagine it as having a riverbank, and the riverbank has all these deposits of rocks, debris, and they're forming blockages in the flow of the river. But when there is a flooding, then that huge rush of water will basically break through those blockages and wash them downstream. So there's something similar to that you've been experiencing, that all the blockages were basically broken through and like washed out of your system. And the reason why you were experiencing it in the hand, because our hands have many different energy spots to it. It is also, I think it is called like, we have minor chakras here, especially in the middle of our palms. We also have that awesome symbol with the palm having a eye in the middle. And it's basically an energetic gateway that works both ways. I believe most of you have heard of energy healing or hands-on healing. And this, the healing energy is being conducted through your system and through your hands to the other person. But it works both ways. You can also use to scan it or receive energy. So everything in our system works both ways. And basically, as I'm sensing, we're receiving a type of upgrade to be able to scan and to share your energies more efficiently with other people. I'm not sure if it was like an upgrade or recalibration. It was mostly like breaking through barriers in order for your system to function properly. But if you like continue on with maybe exploring energy healing or just channeling energy through your hand, then you can intensify it, and new types of abilities can show themselves in your life. So that could be something interesting that you could explore. Oh, I see George also had a question. We'll have to select that. And you had also another question regarding light language. My light language activated about 7 weeks ago. I will often just start talking to myself during the day and wonder if there is a method to control it. Yeah, like many people are receiving light language activations, and this is just my observation, but I believe in the past 3, 4 to 5 years, light language has become very active in the spiritual community. For example, just like going on the internet, you can like see that there are more and more people sharing their light language, which is awesome. But light language was kind of always present to a certain extent, but not many people had access to it. As far as I know from my experiences, it is something that is inherent to humans. Like we had this ability way back. In my experience in Atlantean times, we used it for something way more complex, for like interacting with different devices and energy systems. We were able to do it through the sounds that we emanated through our mouth, aka light language. But yeah, yes. So basically, many people are receiving these activations and it can just come suddenly out of nowhere. For many people, it is being triggered by listening to other people's light language. And if you're attracted to it, then please do listen to it and explore many different types of light languages. But I think when we're introduced to it, like the first thing that pops up, or maybe you see a thumbnail or a video that's like super attractive to you and you want to click on it, then most likely it is something for you. So definitely explore it. There are many different types of light languages and just see which one resonates. Like one will speak to you, it will speak to your soul, it will speak to your heart. It will resonate on a very deep level. Many people can experience like crying, like a huge rush of emotions being released. You may feel a super sense of calm, peace, healing activations. I also read from some of your comments that some of you were experiencing out-of-body experiences during the light language sessions. So it's awesome. Yeah, like many things can happen through it. And some people are like prone to speak it more than others. And congratulations for being activated. And I think, yeah, like just see what comes through, in my opinion. But later on, when you like find your own tones and like you find the way that you like to express it, I would highly recommend focusing it in a clear way, what you've been asking for. And the way I do it is I have like a very clear intent of what I want to do, what I want to manifest, or if I want to do a recording, like what I want to bring through. And I make that request from the center of my heart and just speak from my heart. I think that's the best way of putting it, like having that clear intent and just let information pour through from your heart center, and without absolutely having any thoughts or thinking about what you're going to say, just say what comes through, however strange, weird, or wacky it may be, because it can be, especially if you're channeling blue avians. Yeah, like, and the more you do it, the clearer it will be. But if you want a more clearer transmission or bring much clearer energies through, then I will highly recommend like doing a clearing on yourself, do protection just as we have done last week. So definitely do that to make sure that nothing intrudes, like nothing is interfering with the whole process of bringing through that divine energy. Do that and just speak from your heart. Have a clear intent and just let it out. Let it out. I hope that addressed your question. And yeah, let's see. George has posted something in the chat box. Okay, so George G. Are starseeds meant to be single? If I find it hard to find people who truly get me, want to stay with me. Yeah, like that can be a true issue in our lives. Like in my case, I'm very blessed that I found my divine feminine counterpart who doesn't really have ET connections, but she's like accepting of it. So she's like aware these things are happening, like this is real. And also she had her experiences as well, but like she is not as into it as I am, or it's not something that she's like actively exploring. She knows like it is there and it is a thing and is accepting of the weird stuff that I do and sometimes the weird stories that I share with her. So, but yeah, in general, I think it is very difficult to like connect with people in that sense. But like what my advice would be is to like be your authentic self always. Like live from your heart, do what excites you, and you don't have to share this stuff with each person, even if maybe they're like a close friend to you or to someone that you have like a closer relationship with. For example, like we have many friends and I have a handful of friends that I really enjoy being with, but they have no clue about this stuff and I'm not about to share it. So it's like learning the wisdom of staying silent is key in this aspect. But the good part of it is that all this type of information is coming more and more to the forefront. So having such experiences, or just the main fact that, hey, like these things exist in this world and there are people who are having these experiences, like this whole fact is becoming more mainstream and acceptable to the collective. So I believe like in our near future, like talking about this stuff won't be as extreme as maybe it was 10 years ago. And in some cases, like I'm also surprised by it, although I'm also very cautious at the same time. Like many people are very much open to such topics, but I never go into the part like, hey, like I had direct interactions with ET beings. I'm like, I usually stay silent during certain discussions. I just only like reaffirm like the positive parts that people are sharing with me, and like maybe just like planting some seeds here and there for people for later too, so it can like evolve later on to something else. But I learned the wisdom of not sharing these stuff directly with people. Also, mainly that is the reason why I did this YouTube channel, is that finally I can talk about this. And yeah, like find people online as well. Like it's the best thing ever, especially if you feel alone. Like it's YouTube and forming this awesome community helped me a lot. Like seriously, it was a lifesaver for me. Because before that, I was also in a similar state that I have all these amazing experiences, but I don't really have anyone to share it with. So, and that can also be incredibly frustrating and like alienating, that like you feel like you live in a different planet than everyone else around you. And that's not an awesome place to be. Okay, and we have two more questions. One is from Tatika. I think we had like a healing session 2 years ago. Do you have a day job, and how do you balance your spiritual gifts and day-to-day tasks? When I meditate and raise my vibration and then go to work, it feels like I need to immediately lower it to match the vibe of the job. Okay, so I do have a quote-unquote day-to-day job, but I work from home, so I guess that kind of helps with it. I work remotely. I live outside in the mountains of Transylvania in a mountain village, but we have good internet connection, thank goodness, and I'm able to connect with anyone across the world. And like that really helped me a lot about like putting a type of distance between me and certain specific situations and people. because I was also struggling with it for quite some time. But I know like that's not an option for many of you, and I salute you and all my respect to you for like continuing on that path. I like walked away from that path like 5 years ago. But the thing that you can do, and it's an awesome thing to do, is you were talking about meditating and raising your vibration. But then when you went into those day-to-day situations, you felt the need to immediately lower your vibrations so you can match the vibe of that place. And like, yeah, like we are empaths, we are energy sensitives. And because of that, we're connected very deeply to many different energies, to everything, to places, to people, to groups of people. And when you like immerse yourself in that dense environment, then automatically you have this, I don't know, like this reflex of like matching the energy of that which is around us. And when you're meditating, you're basically consciously raising your vibration and holding yourself in that heightened state, which I believe usually happens when you're like alone or in a peaceful place, when you're able to focus on it. But when you go into a day-to-day job, or you go to shopping, or have a difficult relationship with someone, then it's almost like you're like thrusted back into that lower vibrational state, and you're unable to hold that state, that high vibrational state. And the key in all of this is what we've addressed last week, the clearing and protection work. So if you're clearing yourself of any debris, of anything that can drag you down, vibrationally speaking, if you clear that out and do your protection work and ask your guides, archangels, or whomever to assist you in like holding your own energy, then it can help you a great deal. And also the key in those situations is to learn how to hold that high vibrational energy even during the difficult times as well, which is super not easy. So I think all of us are working on that. I have made great advance. I advanced a lot on that path, but I still have work to do. But yeah, it took me many years of actively working on that, of like, okay, like I feel super zen when I meditate and I'm alone, but if I go there and talk to these people, then I go nuts. And all these maybe habits or ways that I react come to the forefront, which are like feelings or emotions that I don't prefer to have in myself, but they come to the forefront because like these people are triggering me. And yeah, like there's a lot of healing work involved on like clearing out all those belief systems, maybe traumas, relationship patterns of like, why do these things come back and why do these things trigger me? And as we've addressed previously with like addictions as well, is that you have something in you that is not in alignment with your high vibrational self. And other things will come in to reaffirm that, or to latch onto it, or to amplify it. And basically the only way to work around it, the quick fix, is doing protection work, because it like greatly reduces the negative effects. But the last thing and the most important thing that you need to do is like clear out, go deep and clear out those belief systems, heal them layer by layer, week by week, month by month, go through it and like clear it out of your system. And those difficult situations will come back. The only difference will be that they will no longer affect you in a negative way. And you will be able to remain zen in even the most chaotic situations, which would be the goal in our case. And our last question is from Robert, which I also have addressed a bit in the beginning. Should we be trusting anything that comes from Orion? And it all depends, I guess. Like, for example, this is one of the reasons I chose to like change the name Guardian of Orion, because like people have a prejudice with the Orion star system, which in part I do understand. But this stands with everything, basically. Like, don't trust anything unconditionally just because it is called a certain way or appears in a certain way. Like, with everything in this reality, like, always use your discernment, clear yourself, go deep in your heart and see what resonates and what doesn't resonate, regardless of how someone calls themselves or how do they appear in front of you. Like, see and feel like the energy that they are transmitting to you. Like, does this thing resonate? Is this of the highest good? Is this of the highest light? Or is this something distracting? Is this something that causes fear inside of my being? Am I feeling anxiety maybe listening to this or seeing that person or channel or whomever? Yeah, like in general, is it constructive what they're sharing? Is this assisting me in my day-to-day life, or is it not? And if it's something that is assisting you, it is raising your vibration, it is bringing calm and peace to you, it resonates, it makes you feel good, it motivates you, then that means that that is a genuine information that is there to assist you in your journey at this time. In short, that is the answer. Okay. Jacaranda Marie, I just remembered to hit the like button. Thank you so much, Zoltan. Well, thank you for hitting the like button. And thank you for everyone being here. Oh, we have 33 participants at this time. Awesome to be here. Okay, and also look forward on Sunday. I did an ultimate cut of our last live event. I trimmed down all the fat and excess information from that live session and like created this continuous packed information stream regarding the topic of like how to stay clear of psychic attacks, how to protect yourself energetically and have a restful good night's sleep, which all of us need from time to time in this life. So look forward to that. And once again, I thank you for joining us into this live event, for being live here present, and also for everyone who has watched the replay until this point. I'm sending all of you many hugs and much love. And thank you for your patience. Okay, so have an awesome weekend, everyone, and see you next week.